So hello, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I've done a detailing video, but this could be the start of quite a few more. Today I'm going to be getting to grips and washing my nice brand new second-hand BMW 2 Series Gran Coupe. Let's take a quick look at it, then get straight into it. When it comes to cleaning the wheels in the car, I like to use two chemicals: Garage Therapy 1 Wheel Shampoo and Garage Therapy Zero Decon. I like to use Zero Decon in the IK sprayer. I'm going to use that in a pre-wash on the whole car, but I use it for the tyres and as a pre-wash for the wheels. Once I get that all off, I use GT 1 Wheel Shampoo in the foamer and in the wash bucket, which is going to allow me to do the contact wash of the wheels. Before getting into the wheel wash though, I like to get in about those carpeted rear wheel arch liners with the turbo nozzle to help knock off any of the loose dirt so that it's not getting trapped in all my brushes. As I mentioned before, I'm only going to be using two chemicals on the wheels. Believe it or not, you can wash your wheels with two chemicals, one depending on how well you keep them. In this instance, with it being the first wash and wanting to give them a thorough decontamination, I'm going to use two. So I'm using Garage Therapy Zero Decon. It is advertised as a shampoo, however at the right dilution it works very well as a degreaser, which I'm using on the tyres and in the wheel itself. Bearing in mind that I'm using this as a pre-wash for the bodywork as well, I'm using it at 2% panel impact ratio through the IK sprayer. So for your 1.5 litre capacity of the sprayer, you're only using 30 millilitres of product. Coming on to the wheels, and I'm using one of my favourite products. This is the Garage Therapy 1 Wheel Shampoo. I'm using it two ways. I've got the shampoo in the bucket, where I've put 30 millilitres into my 5-gallon bucket, which is probably only filled up to about the 3.5 gallon mark. And then I've put 15 ml in my IK foamer, just to provide that extra little bit of lubrication. Because we all know what BMW wheels are like. If you manage to scratch any of that diamond cut finish, and it looks like these wheels have recently been recut, so I really want to make sure I'm as safe as possible on them. So I'm making sure I'm going to rinse my brushes after every use before dunking them back into the bucket. Now that I've dealt with the barrels and they're all nice and clean, I'm going to move on to the spokes and the faces of the wheels. I'm using the wheel wash mitt just so that I can be as gentle as possible on the wheels while still being able to get any of that remaining grime off of them. Now for anybody thinking, it's a bit overkill, you've used two wash buckets and you've rinsed off your brushes in between uses. Why are you doing that? I'm just going to show you the reason why I have done that. Because bear in mind, every time I've used these brushes, they've been rinsed and then put back in the rinse bucket before going into the clean bucket to be used. So we'll just compare the rinse water with the clean soapy water. Now that the wheels are all nice and clean, we're going to move on to the bodywork. Now, I mentioned before I was going to use the Zero Decon shampoo as my pre-wash. I'm going to do that instead of going with a more traditional citrus type pre-wash. Main reason is I want to get rid of any kind of dealer polish that they've put on the car, so that I can really properly assess what the paint condition is actually like, so that I can decide where I'm going to go with this car and how much polishing is going to be required to be done here. Following on from getting that Garage Therapy Zero Decon on, I'm going to use Garage Therapy 1 Snow Foam as a topper, and this is just going to let that decon dwell a little bit longer. Now, the great thing about Garage Therapy 1 Snow Foam is that it's actually a very good cleaning snow foam as well. It's not pH neutral, so you are going to get that added cleaning power from it, as well as giving your Zero Decon pre-wash a little bit longer to dwell. Now, I'm using this at 1 to 9, I'm only using 500 millilitres of total solution, and you can see it is not thick like shaving foam. I have dialed the nozzle back on the lance just a little bit, so the foam comes out that little bit wetter instead of a dry foam that just falls off the car. Then, after allowing 5 to 6 minutes to dwell, I'm just going to thoroughly rinse the foam off. I like to rinse it off from bottom to top. As you can see, I can see where I've been if I go from the bottom up, as opposed to rinsing it off from the top down, just so that I don't miss any bits, because cleaning with pressure is still required to get the best results from your pre-wash process. Now the pre-wash is done and it's time for a bit of a contact wash. Car is looking quite clean, quite happy with how it's came out so far. Still want to go over it with a bit of contact. So again, because I want to remove all those old kind of polishes, any kind of sealants that may be on the car, doesn't look like there's any. It's going to be Garage Therapy Zero Decon again. It's such a versatile product. Now I'm using 65ml in what should be a 4 to 5 gallon bucket for a good decon wash as per the instructions. As I mentioned earlier, this is an extremely versatile product. It's labelled as a decon shampoo, but it can be used as a pre-wash, it can be used on your wheels, it can be used through the foam lance. Some of the features of this product is its strong alkaline pH balance, which gives you the strength to strip old waxes and sealants. It has serious amounts of lubrication and foaming, and it's really easy to rinse off. It's a highly concentrated product, which means that you don't need to use a lot of it to get the best results. This has been a staple product on my shelf for years now, and it really is my go-to for removing any old waxes or sealants. Before I started this wash, the car was actually beading up quite well, so there was clearly some form of product on it from the dealership. However, we can now see that after the wash process I've went through, the car's really holding on to water, so there's not any protection left on that. Only thing that's left to do is get the drying towel out, start with the windows to get it nice and wet before we move on to the paint, to get the car dry before we move on to applying some protection. Now that the car's all clean, going to get some protection on it. I did plan on doing a bit of a walk round to show just how much swirls are actually on the car, but the sun's went away, it's a bit light for the LED light, so you'll just need to trust me that there's a lot of swirls on it. So it's going to need some form of polish or some other form of protection that's going to hide those swirls. For the meantime though, I'm just going to go with Garage Therapy Sigma, give it a quick coating, and then we'll be done. very last thing that we're going to do then is just go around and condition the tyres with some garage therapy tyre serum. Absolutely love this stuff. I love the finish that it has on the tyres. It's not too glossy, you don't get sling all over the place, just gives a nice natural look. And as shown with other videos that are out there on YouTube, it really helps your tyre over a prolonged period of time. So if you use this on every wash, you're really going to see the benefits of it. Really easy to apply, and then it looks quite shiny at the moment, but it will darken down as it dries in. Look at that, I haven't even scraped my knuckles. So at this point in time, I hope you'll agree, the car is looking fantastic. I'm really happy with how it's came out. Just need to keep it to this high level for the time that I own it. But that'll do for now. As always, thanks for watching. I'll leave you some finishing shots. I'll see you on the next one.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long.